Alright. So, we didn't... What was the first boss? First boss would have been King Slime.
As it should be.
So, the way I want to do this is kind of probably opinion-based. So, what was fun, really, as opposed to what was hard, I feel like. I guess we could do a hardness tier list, too, but...
I forgot about that. I forgot about that. It has been a while since you used birds.
Yeah.
That was a good place to open it at.
Yeah. That's a good clip. Okay. Anyway, right. Okay. Okay, so where was King Slime in here? He was probably he's in here somewhere.
Probably towards the end.
Literally the King Slime episode, so yeah. I think we one episoded him. Where's he gonna be? There he is, yeah, here we go. God, I remember him doing a slime fall attack like that, but it's kind of hard to remember that far back.
He's one of the bosses I remember the best.
I just remember the slime rain. That's the main thing I remember. Oh man, I liked him. He was fun.
Don't you miss the simple fights?
Yeah. God, this compared to the late game is so tame. Even this early though, you still get that little hint of Don Maku early on. Because he's got those, evenly spaced bullets that come from above. Even that early, he's still giving you little bits of bullet hell. So you can tell Fargo really likes his bullet hell.
How else you don't make it hard without just making it feel unfair, though?
Yeah. It's okay with me, because I like bullet hell games. Oh, man. It wasn't that hard fight, though. I think we beat it, first attempt, was it?
Yeah, but I almost died.
But like with all King Slime, though, I mean, we probably overprepared for him, for one thing.
Yeah, we absolutely did. I can tell just by the weapons we're using. I have a boomstick, which is one of the best pre-hard mode weapons in vanilla, and you have a...
Ruby staff.
Yeah, which is one of the best mage weapons you can get at that point.
I think it looks like I've already got a diamond robe, too. Yeah, we definitely overprepared for this fight. Yeah, we did. But it was a cool take on King Slime. I liked it. It was pretty good. But that's all it was. Slime King's Slasher was the weapon, and then there was an upgrade to that with the Energizer. But
there were 2 upgrades to it.
Yeah, because then you didn't get the last one until after Mutant, right?
Yeah, that lagged your game.
Yeah.
It's a shame I wasn't playing Melee, because I would have loved to use the Slime King Slasher, but I didn't start doing that until right at the end.
Yep. It's about the end of the game we were able to just do whatever we wanted. Yeah, so that was King Slime. That was all it was. It was just one. We did it one attempt. And before this early in the game, I really didn't, see how hard it was going to be at that time yet because, it wasn't that hard yet. It just wasn't. That was a pinky.
I told you they do that.
You did. They're great. Pinkies are awesome. I'm going to put Pinky at rank, S.
Yeah,
S.
we're going to add a sprite to Pinky just for that.
Pinkies are great.
You could do that with all the mini-bosses, really.
Alright. So if we're ranking this based on just how fun the boss was, let's see, we'll call this one mine and this one yours, I guess. I'll be on the left, since,
Yes.
Okay. So, well, I liked him pretty well. I think it was a cool take on King Slime. He wasn't, super awesome or anything, but he was cool. I would either B or A for me as just a cool boss. But I don't know. What do you think? What are you gonna do for yours? How are you feeling?
I'm gonna put mine as solid B tier. I'm gonna have him as a good midpoint to compare other bosses to.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good way to put it. Yeah. I didn't really. We didn't spend that much time on him to really get to know him that well because he was just one attempt. It didn't take that long.
That's what happens when you over prepare, though.
Yeah.
You can't blame the boss for that. That's on us.
Yeah, it would be probably a bit different if you had some incentive to fight him early, but you just don't. There's no reason to.
If you're playing melee, hunting the King Slime Slasher as a weapon early, but neither one of us were, so we didn't need that. And on top of that, you got it first try anyway.
Yeah. So overall, I guess B is pretty safe. He was a good boss. He wasn't anything really super special, but he was cool. Cool take on King Slime. And I like that they're already introducing you to the Danmaku patterns in the very beginning, even if it's just a very tamed down version of it.
I can already see how this list is gonna go for me. I feel like I'm only gonna have one really low rank boss.
Oh no!
Thinking back on it.
Oh boy! All right. Next one is gonna be Cthulhu, which took us 2 episodes to beat. It looks like. This one was the first boss that was actually hard, which was, of course, only boss 2. Didn't take long, but of course, even at this point, it wasn't getting super hard yet. This was just hard. It was harder than normal Cthulhu, but it wasn't super, crazy. Although, his last attack in his last phase was pretty fucking wild for having not seen it before. Let's see if we can find him here.
Yeah, we're about to start the fight, it looks like. It looks like that was where we were preparing.
Yeah. Yeah, so for most of the fight, it was pretty tame. I mean, it wasn't nothing really special for the most part. Things started picking up here when he starts getting into his second phase, but it didn't go crazy until the very last attack. And at that point, you start seeing how wild this mod's going to be. We're getting bullet hell as early as Eye of Cthulhu, and it's actually it's not a joke. It's legit just bullets everywhere at this point for how slow you can move at this early point in the game.
It's all one type of bullet.
Yeah. It's very visible, And this is the part where things get kind of wild. Of course, I couldn't see it yet, but here we go. It's that pattern. And having never seen that before, that just kind of takes you by surprise. What the fuck was that shit?
He's lagging out so bad for you
he's
too.
Lagging.
He's just going everywhere.
And this is a recurring theme throughout the playthrough. Bosses being kind of janky because of multiplayer.
Oh yeah. It's a lot worse on your perspective than it was for me when I fought him. I don't remember him being that jumpy. He felt smoother to me.
We got really close. Is that the first attempt? I think it was.
Yeah. I think it took us a couple of tries to get past that last phase, though. Because you got 2 videos on him.
Yeah. It wasn't that hard, but in fact, yeah, like we see here, we almost first tried him. Almost. It was close. But yeah, that last phase was kind of a shocker. That was a real good intro into what the hell's going to go on in this mod. So where did we actually beat him? Just for kicks. I mean, I think I already know where I'm going to put him on my list, but so exciting. We actually both survived that one too. All right. Yeah, that's the Eye of Cthulhu. I really liked Eye of Cthulhu. I thought that was fun. And I would probably put him... I had a lot of fun with him. I would probably put him on S if he... if more of the fight were more built on. But as it happened, only the last part of the last phase really felt that much different.
Well,
but it was really cool.
If they did too much of that, it would be kind of unfair because of how early it was and the lack of mobility.
Yeah. It was pretty cool, too, how it starts out normal, so it gives you a false sense of security, and then by the end, it just hits you all at once, BAM! But I am going to put him on A here myself, on my list. I'm putting him on A. Where is he here, anyway? Where is just the normal Eye?
Second phase Eye?
See, this is...
You're mousing over it.
Is this him, or is this...
Yeah, that's him.
That's not Spasmatism? Where's
Nope.
Spasmatism?
I assume Spasmatism and Retinazer have the same
Oh,
icon.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Well, let's call that Cthulhu then. Assume that's him. Alright, so that's an A for me. Where are you putting yours?
I'm gonna have to put him at B tier 2, lower than King Slime.
Ooh, lower. So let's see. How do they do these? Is this right is lower or
Yeah,
left is
right
lower?
is
Right is
lower.
lower. Okay. Okay, so not quite as good as King Slime for you then, huh?
Not quite. He was still a good boss, but I have a bias for King Slime. I just think King Slime's cool. There's not many bosses affected by gravity, so I like seeing it.
I think that would be a cool thing to have a later boss that they somehow make more dangerous without making it, while also making it affected by gravity. I think that would be a cool idea.
You have both Golem and Queen Slime for that.
Well, yeah, but people generally refer to Golem as a joke.
That's true, but the point is he's still there.
I can't say much about Queen Slime because I've only fought her once, but Golem has a rep for being kind of a pushover, so that didn't really go over very well for him. So that's where that is then. We already have a difference. Not much of a difference, but we have a difference already. So here's the deal with Eater of Worlds. Number one, of course, my mic didn't record for whatever reason. I don't remember why.
This one was really buggy on your end. I remember that.
Yeah, it was a really janky fight. The fight was jank, and the video was jank, and everything was jank because I forgot to record some time, and then I forgot to have my mic record for some time, and it was just a mess. But this intro was kind of cool, though. This intro was really cool.
What, you getting fucked up just trying to get up the
Yeah,
tunnel?
like there's just this fire-breathing worm chasing you up a tunnel. Come on, that's cool. It is such a cool intro, this guy, I think. And it's a cool idea for the reskin, switching the Crimson and Corruption skins around a bit, try to theme them differently, like switch their themes. I don't really care for his skin that much. In this case, though, I don't.
It just looks like flesh.
Yeah, I don't think it looks that cool. The skin. I liked Eye of Cthulhu's skin a lot better. I think Eye of Cthulhu's skin is really cool. The glowing eye.
Well, they made him look like one of Moonlord's eyes, what I think was the idea anyway.
Yeah, but it's really cool. So, if I recall, I did not survive very long in this fight. I mean, I survived, a little while, but you ended up carrying this one because I just couldn't stay alive long enough,
Which ended up taking forever because I couldn't hit him because he was lagging so bad on my end.
Yeah. I mean, he did this too. Like, on my end, he also did janky lag stuff because he would jump in the air like that, and then he would teleport back down on top of me without giving me a chance to see him coming. So, it was just multiplayer jank being multiplayer jank.
He was definitely the worst case of it, I think, out of any of the bosses, though.
Yeah, Eater of Worlds was kind of... It's hard to grade him objectively because we had so much trouble from multiplayer.
Exactly. Honestly, he's probably going to be a bit lower for me just purely on the fact that we didn't get to see him not jank. So from the perspective we fought him, he just wasn't that great.
Yeah, and I like his attacks too. I think he has some very cool attacks, fire-breathing shit, and then his jumping up around and hitting you from the air, I think is pretty cool. I like the way he fights. I don't care for the skin that much, and there was just so much jank that it was hard to really get a good experience out of him. So I'm going to rate him lower, but I know it's probably not that fair of a way to put it, just because there's nothing we could do about him being janky multiplayer at that time.
That's the experience we had, though, so that's what we have to rate him on.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then this just took you forever because you alone just did not have the damage with your weapon to kill him. Your problem was you didn't have a pierce weapon.
Yeah, I know. You
could only shoot one bullet every second, and you had to take out every segment with that one bullet every second.
I should have gone for a bow and grabbed jester arrows or unholy arrows, but
that probably would have helped.
For whatever reason, that never came to me then.
That would have sped this up for sure. You did pretty good surviving on your own.
Yeah. Well, I don't think his attacks were terribly hard to dodge themselves. It was just the lag that got me hit occasionally.
Mm-hmm. And I think I could have learned them better too if I weren't, suffering from teleportation all the time from him, lagging. I think he's a cool concept, but just from our experience, it was not a good time.
If we ever play this mod again, we're gonna have to try the other side and experience Brain, though.
Yeah,
We
for
have
sure.
not experienced him.
Yeah, we cannot actually do Brain, so we'll probably have to just like put Brain on just B by default or something, because we just can't really rate him, or just not rate him. If we just not rate him, just not include him in the list. But someone also suggested at one point in the comments somewhere that we should try a dedicated server, because that might fix some of our issues with Steam lobbies.
Perhaps. We could also always try switching to me hosting, so that way
Yeah.
you're not recording and hosting. That
Yeah.
might help a little.
But yeah, just things to try in the future. But as it was with Steam lobbies, it did not work that well.
We
for
should
some
be
bosses.
able to give that a go and see if that works with our next playthrough. Well, one of those two things.
Yeah. Alright. Well, I got a machine down there we could try for a dedicated server if we wanted to. But that is the Eater of Worlds, and see, this is actually a vanilla skin, so we'll have to remember that.
Well, all the
But-
sprites are vanilla.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't want to be too unfair and put him in D, but I really want to put him in D because it was just not a great
For
experience.
me, he's going C tier. I'm not going to be unfair and put him in D, like you said, because of the lag.
Yeah.
But I think he still has to go lower because of the lag. And that was how we experienced him. So I think
Yeah.
C tier is where he's going for me.
I think that's fair. We'll go with C tier on both sides, I think, because I should give him the benefit of the doubt because it really wasn't... A lot of the bad experience was just from the fact that he was so janky. And it was just from multiplayer. So we'll go with C tier on both sides for that one. Okay. So we're moving right along to Queen Bee then. We skipped a lot of footage here in this section because, of course, I lost some. So we skipped through some, but we're going to get right to Queen Bee. Looks like I'm still running that same loadout I've been running for a while for the most part, so that ruby staff and diamond robe get up. Look, got jungle pants too going on.
Well, the
looks like.
armor there is the vanilla-wise, that's like the best armor you can do for pre-hard mode if you want damage.
So I didn't have a reason to change then. Okay, so let's go ahead and just jump around here. Looks like we are going to get into the fight pretty early here, actually.
I think the way we left off, there wasn't a lot of upgrades we could do between fights. We were pretty much at that point where we were just like,
Just
need
going.
to hit it.
Queen Bee's skin in this mod is an old version of Queen Bee, right? I think?
I do not recall.
Judging by the title here, I'm assuming it must have been an old skin or something. Apparently this boss gave us some issues. Yeah.
Yeah, it did because of the small bees having enough HP and I not having Pierce. I had no way to deal with them.
Right.
And that was when that person suggested that enchantment that saved me.
We had someone who suggested, I think, the Ebonwood enchantment it was. Alright. Yeah, this is the one. Keenshow, our boy here, recommends they get the Ebonwood enchantment, and that ended up being massive for the Queen Bee.
Specifically for me, since I had lack of Pierce, unlike you. You had
Yeah.
a little bit of Pierce at least.
So, yeah, I was using a staff, so I could at least pierce one, right? Was it?
The diamond staff and a couple of the other staffs can pierce one, yeah. And you had the space gun, which also pierces.
Oh, yeah, space gun. Yeah, so the gimmick here with Queen Bee was she gets, every once in a while, she'll get a couple royal subjects out as guardians, and as long as they're alive, she gets a massive armor bonus until they die. So you have to focus them down.
Those weren't the problem for me, though. It was the small bees with their boosted damage and HP due to the difficulty, and since I didn't have Pierce, I just couldn't get them off
Yeah.
of me, and they would knock me around.
Yeah. They were a cool concept, I think. I like the mechanic there. Made things more interesting, for sure. It definitely... The whole fight as a whole felt really good to finally beat it, because it was a lot harder.
I do agree with that one, but that was one of the two bosses that I remember actually kind of annoying me.
Oh, yeah.
Which is weird because I like Vanilla Queen Bee quite a bit, but this one annoyed me.
So it wasn't even because it wasn't even a fun kind of hard. It just became an irritating kind of hard at that point for you.
Yeah, a big part of it was because of the small bees, and I was just unable to do anything about them.
You can see right here you're getting ganked by them, and you can't really do much. They're just like little annoyances. Yeah, for the most part, her fight stays kind of, the same in theme, but she just gets these new tools to make things more painful with. Queen Bee does the same things. She just has more stuff to do it with.
If I was in a different circumstance where I had a Pierce weapon or was playing a different class, my opinion might be different, but the way things went for that fight specifically, I think I'm going to have to rate her a little bit lower.
Okay, understandable.
If this was vanilla, that would also be totally different. Vanilla, she's absolutely top tier for me, probably S.
Oh, yeah? You had Blair.
That's what it looks like to me. I don't even know if that's specifically what it is for sure. I think that's what it is.
Oh, we actually had one by now. The fight was already over by then. Actually, did you win the fight? Was it on you?
Yeah, I think I ended up winning it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you won the fight. Despite all your issues.
Well, that was at the point where I had the aura thing to kill them.
Oh, yeah, and the Shadewood enchantment was just kind of dealing with the little bees for you.
Yeah, so at that point it didn't matter anymore.
And at that point, I mean, you already knew her attacks well enough, you could dodge.
Yeah.
That attack was kind of cool. I liked that attack. Create a couple safe zones, and then you just kind of have to get out of the way.
Well, that was just a taste of what was to come, because they started doing that more and more frequently later on.
Yeah, for sure. I liked it, though. I think it was cool. Okay. Yo!
We're going to have yet another C tier for her for me, I think, though.
C tier? Okay, so not horrible, though, it seems, for you. I mean, it was...
Well, yeah, but unlike Eater of Worlds being there because he was lagging, she's there because she annoyed me.
So what's the order here, do you think?
It's probably right there, because I still don't want to be super unfair to Eater of Worlds.
Yeah. See, I didn't mind her. I thought she was a cool boss.
Well, you had a much better weapons for dealing with her, I feel like.
I don't know if I want to put her on A or B, because I liked her a lot, actually. I had a pretty good fight with that. Like, to me, it wasn't an annoying challenge. It was a fun challenge from my experience.
Helps a lot when you can deal with the bees, don't it?
Yeah.
By the time I got to the end and did have the enchantment, my experience with her was changing, but it was already like a bit of a bias against her from the first few fights, getting on my nerves.
I'm going to put her on, I'm going to go with low A. Low A. Because I have to put her on A because I really just enjoyed the challenge. I thought it was just a fun, it was giving you a taste of things getting considerably harder while also remaining, at least for me, pretty fun. I didn't have quite the issue that you did. So that's probably our first pretty dramatic difference there, is I had a much better time with Queen Bee than you did.
If I have to guess, that will probably be one of the largest differences of any of the bosses, most likely. He'll be up there anyway. Seemed like we had a relatively similar opinion on most of them.
Okay, let's see. Skeletron, if I recall, was surprisingly pathetic.
It wasn't surprising to me because Skeletron's always been an easy boss to me, which is why I don't enjoy him in vanilla. He's just too easy.
But, it being Eternity mode and after Queen Bee being so much harder than things had been, I at least expected Skeletron to be also pretty hard, but he wasn't. He just wasn't. He was just like he is for you in vanilla. Disappointing.
Yeah. They definitely made him more fun to fight, though. I will say that. He was easy compared to what the mod was with its other bosses, but he was more enjoyable than his vanilla fight. I almost feel like this should have just been the vanilla fight because it was still easy enough without being absurd, but
Yeah.
was actually cool. His vanilla fight's just boring, honestly.
I really like his attacks. I think his attacks are cool, but they aren't difficult enough. He's still pretty easy to predict. I mean, as long as you... I mean, once you know what his attacks do, he's still pretty darn easy to predict and work around. But he's pretty cool, and I like his design, and I like his attacks. So I'm not going to rate him that high, but I'm going to rate him decent. So probably I think I'll put him on a B, I think. I would put him higher if he were harder, but it was just kind of disappointing to me how easy he was at the tier he was on.
See, to me, he's still got to be decent because no matter how I look at it, he was an upgrade from vanilla. Vanilla, to me, he is easily one of the lamest bosses in vanilla. He's just a disappointment to me. He's always built up so much hype, and a lot of people like him and stuff, but I can't get over it, because like, I can beat him with about any gear as long as the damage is high enough to beat him before daytime, because he doesn't hit you, in my opinion. His attacks are too predictable and easy.
At least he's flashier now, right?
Yeah.
He's a bit more varied now, too. He's just not hard.
I think I'm going to have to put him as my first A tier purely off of the fact that he is such an upgrade over the vanilla one, in my opinion.
That's pretty fair. That is pretty fair. Okay. Skelly Boy on your list is in A tier. On my list, I'm gonna put him above or below King Slime. That is the question. Oh, I'm gonna put him above King Slime. He was cool. I just wish he was harder, because after the absolute pain and suffering that was Queen Bee, it was a buzzkill to just first try him like that. Really. So that was Skeletron. Not much more to say. He was there and then he wasn't.
That's what happens when you killed something. Alright. Now I feel like we're getting on to the really interesting ones.
Now we have the first original boss by Fargo for Fargo's mod. Deviantt. Deviantt was very interesting. I mean, I think objectively speaking, she's very interesting, just because she's very different and she is, she's got a lot going on. But it's a good, it's another good intro into Fargo's style of making bosses. And, without, having to stick to any particular vanilla boss's play style, he just goes wild and turns Deviantt straight into, going hog wild. A lot more bullet hell shit, if I recall, started with Deviantt.
I like the fact that they keep to her theme. They keep to what she sells. She sells items from rare enemies, so she has effects that rare enemies do.
Yeah, true. She broke your heart, bro.
It happens. Can't help it.
Oh, this is actually the second video, too. I actually skipped the first attempt. So we're already jumping into it now. Every Fargo boss has a melee weapon tied to them too, and hers is that giant axe that she just rushes at you with.
Wasn't it called like Sparkling Adoration or
I
something
think so.
like that?
I think that's what hers is called. Yeah. This is also God bless Secuzio. I love this guy's music. Also fake hearts. But that was from Mimics.
Bait. You meant to say bait.
Oh yeah, and the laser.
Well, Fargo's mod likes lasers, as you'll see later. They do plenty of lasers in this mod.
I do not complain about that, because giant lasers are cool.
Oh, this is when I had the Bone Zone.
Oh yeah, the Bone Zone. Yeah, and that was Skeletron's drop, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that was such a good weapon at the point you get it to. Like, that weapon was really good for that point in the game.
I know this is going to be a good rating for me. I just don't know how good it's going to be, because I really liked this fight. It's just a very interesting thing. Oh yeah, and then there was the one where she can freeze you in place before the laser. Didn't we end up farming nymphs just to gain immunity to that?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
Because it healed her when we had the debuff on us.
Yeah. I love this music, though. She's gaining a lot of points just because of the music, because...
This guy's gonna rate her on the music, not the fight.
Hey, the music's part of the fight, and by golly, it does good. Come on, that's good stuff.
I do like the music, but it's definitely not my style as much as it is yours.
I think it fits her really well in this case.
I like the more Terraria and Calamity style of the way they do their music in those, in Vanilla and Calamity.
Well, Calamity definitely has its own style, too. DM Dokuro has his definitely unique style compared to even Vanilla Terraria.
Indeed. But both of those, I like that style significantly more than this style. This is still absolutely a good song to me. 100% a good song, but it's just not my style.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. I mean, stylistically, not appealing to you is understandable. But I love Secutio. I think he's just so good. Okay. Yeah, that was Deviantt. So for me, she's either going to be A or S. I don't remember if she really annoyed me at all to speak of.
If there was ever a part to annoy someone, it would probably be the lifesteal thing with the heart debuff, or the turning you to stone thing with the Medusa thing, because those are the two things that annoy most people with her.
They didn't annoy me, though. I mean, I felt like it was easy enough to work around them.
Yeah, they didn't bother me either. I was just pointing out the fact that that's the one thing that gets most people, is that. Or I guess two things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you actually recorded this part, by the way. This is actually you playing right now.
Yeah, I figured, considering the way it looks and the way it tends to look when I'm not recording.
Yeah. So you might have won this one then.
I assume, because I don't think I saved any other than the ones that I won, and even then I only saved a few because I forgot about it a lot.
Yeah, the reason why I would have used your recording would be because I was dead. Yep, you won that one.
Oh, God. Don't worry, I got the clip, too.
Yeah, I know. We're watching your video. Alright. Deviantt. Man, I really did quite like Deviantt. And she is I have to put her above Cthulhu because I liked her considerably more than Cthulhu, so she's either going to be here or here for me. I thought she was really cool. What are your feelings? What are you going to do with yours?
I'm going S tier, and it's literally, unlike you, has nothing to do with the music. I just really, really enjoyed her fight.
Hey, the music is just a contributor. I thought the fight itself was really cool. I think her design is really cool. Her theme is really cool. Like thematically, you know, rare enemies and sticking to it. And I think it's just a really well done challenge. Yeah, we'll just put it on S. We'll just go on and just put it on S. Deviant's cool.
Indeed.
She's very cool. Alright.
She was one of the most enjoyable bosses in the mod, in my opinion. She was definitely up there.
Deviant was pretty awesome. Alright. Then we get to Wall of Flesh. The Wall of Flesh was Wall of Flesh, but loud.
Great description.
Come on, tell me. Come on, you can't tell me you don't remember.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but still, come on. Sound like a war horn?
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, it did have a death laser, too. If I recall, I really liked this, too, just because it was so flashy. And I really liked flashy things.
Oh, the Wall of Flesh's fight.
He was flashy and loud and in your face, and, like, he had some presence. And I like that.
See, in Vanilla, I tend to rate him pretty low, but not because I dislike fighting him, it's because I dislike the process of building the arena. In this mod, that takes that away, though, because you can just make those things for the instant hell bridges.
Insta-bridges.
So you don't have to worry about that anymore.
I definitely think it's an improvement on Wall of Flesh overall, for sure. I just think it's a cooler version of him.
I agree. It's an improvement, and I enjoyed him in the first place, which says pretty good things, I think.
Yeah.
It's just that I really, really hated the building the arena process, and I went so far as that if I didn't have to, I would normally skip building the arena
Yeah.
and just use water walking potions.
Yeah. I don't mind building the arena since it's like only once in the game, but then yeah,
I play the
can see it
game
being
a
in
lot
trouble.
though, so it gets old.
I can see that.
Especially now playing Master Mode 2 with a health increase, that means it has to be that much longer because it's going to take longer to kill him.
Oh yeah, for sure. But you don't like playing Master Mode just for the sake of Master Mode, do you?
I haven't decided yet. I don't like the fact
hold
that
on.
Master Mode does what it does. Like, I don't like just being stat increases.
Very important.
Uh-huh.
I have to. I have to.
I feel like I should probably swap to bone zoning. Oh dear.
I love that so much.
But yeah, I don't like just purely stat increases, which is my problem with Master Mode.
That was
But-
annoying. That was annoying.
I never had that much problem with that attack.
I didn't like it. I think that was like the only thing in this fight that I didn't like was the golden shower.
But in vanilla, I can't. My problem with Master Mode is purely I just don't like having that kind of effect, like just a stat increase. It doesn't feel like a
Yeah.
proper challenge thing, but I still like playing Master Mode because
Yeah.
it makes it easier to decide what accessories to put on since you have an extra accessory
Oh
slot.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, it is a very pretty fight. Also, kind of a cool skin. Not a super like it's flashy, but not really flashy because it's like gemstones and stuff.
It doesn't fit Wall of Flesh at all.
That's probably fair. It does not
Like-
fit him because he's the wall of flesh and it's no longer flesh at all. It's just crystals.
Yeah, it looks like it's supposed to be the Hallow.
That's probably the point, actually. I bet that's the point. But it's a cool he's going. It's a cool idea, but it doesn't really suit him that well.
By Hungries.
Look at him go.
The poor Hungries are just being dragged.
Yeah. Yep.
His eyes are spreading. Bro looking like Sid from Ice Age.
Oh my god. Great comparison. Great. Alright. Now, we didn't I titled this Wall of Flesh like we actually beat him here, but we didn't actually beat him here. It took us a while, actually, to beat this guy.
Well, your next video was a short one. It was just
Yeah.
the win.
Yeah, because I didn't actually record the win or something like that. You this was the other one that you recorded with Metal because I didn't have the footage. So I had to use your clip.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was entirely mine, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was literally just your clip that I just edited a little bit. Yeah, because for some reason I had forgotten to record entirely, so I just didn't have the video. I like that attack too. That was a cool attack.
You-
I just didn't like that attack. It was a cool fight. I like this one. That was really cool.
Me using the Hellwing bow and it not just dropping
Yeah.
him like it does
Yeah,
in
how does that
vanilla.
feel?
Yeah, nerfed Hellwing bow to be actually balanced and not broken
Yeah.
like it is in vanilla.
No, that was the thing they did in this model. They nerfed a lot of weapons that were too strong.
A lot of ranged weapons, mind you.
Hey,
Like
look.
a lot of ranged weapons.
Hey, look. By the late game, everything is ranged.
That's true, but even late game, there's still a lot of ranged weapons that were nerfed, like the Onyx Blaster, Daedalus Stormbow, and so on.
Okay, let's see. He's not going to be as good as Deviant for me. If he were going to be on S tier, it would be below Deviant, or it would be above Eye of Cthulhu on A tier. Because he was pretty cool, so he'd either be here or here. How do you feel about it?
He's going to be S tier for me as well, but I don't know if I'm going to put him above or below Deviant. He was another one of my really
Yeah,
enjoyed fights.
I liked it a lot.
The only thing that bugs me about him is the fact that his name is now a lie.
Yeah. Do I be a little bitch and put him on A tier because I don't like the Golden Shower?
That's up to you. I can't pick that for you. Intentionally being loud.
Yeah, you know me. Yeah, well, we know we're gonna put him on S for U, right? Below Deviant.
So I don't know if I want it below or above.
Oh, well, decide then. Because I'm having trouble deciding where I'm putting him, so you decide.
Uh-huh. I think I'm gonna have to put Wallflesh above Deviant.
Above, man, he's really
close
cool.
for me,
He's
but I
pretty cool,
really
though.
enjoyed his fight too. That was one of the best times during that entire mod's playthrough to me, was just that point, because we
Yeah.
got two bosses I really enjoyed close together, like one after the other.
I'll do below Deviant. Below Deviant. Wallflesh, pretty fucking cool. We agree. Alright, so then we got into hard mode, and then we didn't actually have any bosses for, it looks like, 3 episodes. And then on the 4th episode into hard mode, we actually went into twins. So we did a lot of preparation first, it looks like.
Well, even in vanilla, that's how it tends to go. There's a lot of things between first entering hard mode and then fighting your first boss, even in vanilla.
Oh, yeah.
Because as soon as you enter hard mode, you're basically saying all of my gear is outclassed.
Yeah. Well, there's a trigger, right, that can cause the mech bosses to start appearing at night, right? I don't know what it is.
If I remember right, they can basically right from the beginning.
Oh.
The only thing stopping them is there's like a timer. Like it has to be so many days after you enter hard mode.
Okay.
I think that's how it works anyway. I never looked it up to be sure. That's just kind of the vibe I got after spending
Gotcha.
2,000 hours in the game.
Gotcha.
Well, actually, at this point, I'm probably pretty close to 3,000 by the time you count my modded hours as well.
You know what? Let's have a gander real quick.
It's getting there, though.
Yeah. We played a lot of Terraria. Okay.
Definitely my most played game.
Let's go ahead and jump into Twins. If I recall, Twins was another boss that had quite a lot of multiplayer jank. I mean, it was still fun despite it, so it did better off than Eater of Worlds did, but it had a lot of multiplayer jank.
I don't remember having a ton of issues with him. There's only one attack I remember being a problem with him, which was the laser spinning thing.
That was the bad one. Because it would desync really bad.
Yeah.
And for the most part, though, yeah, it did pretty okay. I feel like we kind of cheesed this fight a little bit, though, just because of the fact multiplayer actually made it easier because we could split their firepower.
You say that, but you just said right there below, we can't really do that later on. We realize that.
Oh, yeah, because if you kill one, he stays alive until the other one dies or something like that.
Yeah. The twins are easier overall in multiplayer just for that fact, though, even in vanilla, just since you can split them up.
Mm-hmm. This was it was kind of a cool, just little, one, like, 2v2 showdown kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of a cool thing. Like anime shit going on. The only downside is because we don't both record all the time, I can't really include your side of it too, so we're going to miss a lot of spasmatism.
Well, I think this was another one. Well, maybe I didn't. I don't remember. I feel like, though, this was one where I did actually save the fight where we ended up winning. I just didn't save one before that.
We'll see. We'll see when we get there.
Because that was how I was doing it most of the time. Like, I never saved any except for wins.
Ooh, yeah, that's where it gets troublesome because they'll regroup together anyway once they use their alt attack. And they'll both use it at the same time from the same place. So that kind of makes it hard to split them up anyway at that point.
Yeah.
And already we're experiencing that desync issue because it's not quite lining up with where you expect it to be.
Yeah, from my perspective, it did not look like how it looked there where it was spinning. On my perspective, it just spawned directly on me with no warning.
And just tracks you too, probably, right, yeah.
There was times where it was tracking me.
Yeah, because I had that happen a few times
It
as well.
didn't happen every time, but it did happen here and there.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find where he does it to me too, because he does it to me, and we'll include that if it does. Yeah, he rotates properly there. It's a cool attack. I think it's flashy and cool. I like it. It's just janky. Fargo likes his lasers, and I like that. Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Yep. Here we go.
Exactly. Twins, I think, was one of the was probably the mech boss I enjoyed the most from what I remember, but the fact that he did have the buggy issue
like
when
that.
he lagged.
Shit like that happening.
Yeah, that alone is going to have to put him lower for me again.
The reality was that laser was spitting, but it did not show up that way. So I just didn't know where it was in reality.
Yeah.
Well, Twins, pretty fun. I had fun with it. It's just that rotating laser was janky as all hell, but it was really flashy and cool, so I liked it as a boss quite a bit. This one took us a good few tries. It was difficult, but part of that's just because of the dip trank.
If I remember right, the first mech boss took us the most tries. After that one, the other ones didn't take us quite as long to actually beat.
Yeah. Twins was hard, but it was fun too.
Except for when the game cheated you.
Yeah. I'm going to rate it pretty good, though, because I had fun anyway. I liked it. That was the Twins. I liked it. I liked it pretty well. It's not going to go S tier, but it was cool. I think probably put it's going to go on A, I think, for me. I liked it a lot. I got to decide where on A, though. Where are you at with your side?
Probably going to have to be B tier for me.
Damn. Twins are B tier. But, I mean, it's still average, I guess.
You say average, but most of those are above, so the average a little off center on mine.
Well, I mean, we're rating them overall higher. Overall, the bosses seem to have been pretty good so far.
Probably the lowest on B tier for me.
Okay. We're gonna go with, we're gonna give it points over Queen Bee just because, it's flashy and pretty and stuff, and Queen Bee is kind of dull as a general rule, in my opinion. Queen Bee was just a cool fight mechanically speaking, I think. That's just my opinion on Queen Bee in general. I like flashy things. Yeah. And you're putting,
Bottom of B.
Bottom of B tier. Alright.
My list is a little more centered than yours is.
Well, yeah, it is. I was happier with the bosses overall, maybe so far, than you were.
It's not to say that I disliked any of them other than my bad experience with the lag on Queen Bee and Retinazer. But, well, actually, it was pretty bad with...
Eater of Worlds.
Yeah, but his didn't cause me to get annoyed. His just made the fight draw out for like 5 hours.
I mean, well, but that wasn't, a little annoying, don't you think?
It didn't bug me that much, because during the fight, until it got down to where it was just the last couple of little segments and they were hard to hit, you don't really notice the time passing while you're fighting that much.
Now, you say the Twins was probably one of the harder ones, but Skeletron Prime took 4 episodes.
Well, I'm pretty sure the bugging out one was Destroyer.
Yeah, Destroyer showed up in this one. I feel like this was still doing attempts on Skeletron Prime, though. Yeah, we were still attempting Prime in this one. It's just Destroyer happened to show up, so I used that as the thumbnail thing. Like, oh yeah, something's different here.
Didn't we Destroyer first try, too?
Probably, yeah, I think we did, because, he's Destroyer.
Destroyer to me is a lot harder in vanilla than he was in this mod, and that's purely off the fact in vanilla he doesn't have a pattern. In this mod, they give him a pattern.
Oh, yeah.
Not having a pattern can make things plenty difficult, that's for sure.
I had multiplayer jank here that I think you didn't have as much.
Yeah,
I mean, you can see here, his hands are bouncing around
that
wildly.
Almost never happened for me, which I actually really enjoyed him because of wasn't seeing that, and the way the fight was meant to be was pretty fun to me.
Yeah, I mean, you can see my issue is pretty dramatic here. The hands are just kind of everywhere. So that was a recurring theme for the entirety of the fight against him for as long as it lasted. That I was having that issue, so that's going to lower my opinion of him. But that's just multiplayer being multiplayer, so I can't complain too much. It's like Eater of Worlds. I'm not going to hold it that much against him. But it was what it was.
It's still the experience you got, though, which means it's still going to affect it, even if not a lot.
You did mention it like once or twice. It did happen, but yeah, as a rule, it was much more of a me issue. Why the fuck was I going for Meteor Enchantment for Skeletron Prime? How does that help me? It does damage.
Well, I think we had mentioned it because of Destroyer was the reason it came up, but then...
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was the reason we originally talked about, but then you ended up not getting it until Skeletron Prime or something like that.
Something. Not a lot else to say about him, I don't think, right? He's just Skeletron Prime, but harder for the most part. Right?
And having a pattern again, unlike regular Skeletron Prime that does whatever the fuck he wants.
Well, he has set attacks for sure.
Regular Skeletron Prime always annoyed me, but that was because his fight was boring combined with like drawn out as fuck.
Yeah, base Skeletron Prime just kind of slings his arms around and they just kind of shoot and swing at you. I mean, this guy has actually specific scripted attacks. But they're still mostly just, variations on his normal attacks, plus, some bit of a Radial Danmaku here and there. He wasn't super especially interesting to me, and he was janky to me, so I'm not going to rate him that high myself. I think he probably started to annoy me after a little while just because of how long it took to beat him in the jank. So for me, he's not going to be that high.
This is going to be another one where we have a fairly decent difference in our opinions, I think.
Look at his arms. They're just... Oh, he did have one attack that was kind of wild. He had I guess it was kind of his ultimate attack where he'd just like spin his arms in a circle and like trap you in a circle.
That's what's causing the bug on your screen is when he's doing that.
Yeah. It's supposed to look different, but it doesn't. It looks normal.
It looks normal to me, but on your end it always looked like that, basically.
Yeah. There were some times where he actually used it right on me, though.
See, I never really saw it being buggy like you did.
Yeah,
I think I did like once or twice, but that was it. Yeah, this was where you start getting annoyed, I think.
Oh, here we go. He actually uses it right here, it looks like. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, he just swings him around in a circle. And you're either stuck in or out of it. But either way, you're restricted. Alright. See, that attack I think is pretty cool. I like it. I think it's a cool attack. It's pretty and it's flashy and it's big. But it doesn't really make up for all the downsides in my opinion. So that's Skeletron Prime. Took a while, but we got him. So for me, he's gonna go... I think I'll put him above Eater of Worlds on C tier. Not really my favorite, but he wasn't... I mean, he wasn't a bad boss. I just don't like him from a personal experience standpoint. So he's gonna go down there with Eater of Worlds. But above Eater of Worlds, because Eater of Worlds wasn't... Eater of Worlds was just kind of... He was almost just bad to me.
Yeah.
But Skeletron Prime had,
Eater of Worlds having struggles. Skeletron
had some things going for him, but it just wasn't enough to me to counteract it. So where are you putting him?
I'm deciding between top of A or bottom of S.
Dang, that one you really liked, huh?
Yeah. The only thing holding me back from like just 100% immediately saying S is my huge bias against Skeletron Prime in vanilla. To me, in vanilla, he is easily one of the worst bosses. Well, I mean, it's the same thing with regular Skeletron, except while I do dislike him in vanilla, I don't dislike him as much as I dislike Skeletron Prime.
Oh my.
I think I'm going to have to give him bottom of S tier.
Okay, bottom of S. Pretty good. Pretty darn good rating. You got 3 S's going on up here.
Well, you have 3 A's going on over there.
I do have 3 A's. Yeah, but mine are more spread out. Yours are pretty selective.
We both have 2 C tiers now, though.
Yeah. Yep. You got a few variations in there. All right, and the Destroyer.
I can't believe that I put my Queen Bee on C tier. I love Queen Bee in vanilla, man, but in this mod, it was just... No, it wasn't working for me, man. It's rough. Vanilla
Man.
Queen Bee has always been one of my favorite bosses, but just does not work in that mod.
Damn. Alright. Destroyer was visually so pretty. It was
Destroyer was messy.
It was messy, but it was great. But I think we did like
Destroyer
one-shot
is
this
honestly
one.
one of the bosses that I remember the least of.
I think
I do not recall him very well.
it was very brief. Because of course he was not hard once we were ready for him. Because we fought him like once when he just showed up here in Skeletron's time period. He showed up. That was probably his ult right there. Was he puts a circle around you and then just shoots into it.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not super kitted out for him, but I mean I've got a decent weapon, I think.
The Crystal Serpent is not the best weapon for him specifically, but your armor tornado thing is pretty good on
Yeah,
him.
I ended up using the tornado to really good effect against him because the tornado does this. It's infinite pierce as long as something's on top of it. So I realized that was how good that was when I started getting a lot of damage out of it. Like right there, that's a good use for it. It beats him pretty good. So what I really liked about him was
You've already said that he's flashy, and we all know you got a thing for the flashy.
Yep. Yeah, this pretty much describes the Destroyer experience, I think. This could go very well or very badly, but Lord knows it went fast.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know if it was going to be hard or not, but
As long as you have pierce weapons, he always dies fast. It's just a matter of if you die fast, too.
now what I started using here was the Refractor Blaster, the original Refractor Blaster from Skeletron Prime, which doesn't have pierce, but it is a lot of projectiles. So it functions kind of like something that had pierce, even though it doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like that was like one of the only really good use cases for it.
Yeah.
It didn't have a ton of great use cases, in my opinion.
It didn't, really, but I found a good use for it here. That's the attack I like, because there's just targeting lasers everywhere. I love that. So he gets a lot of points just for that attack.
Yes, stuck on the head there. I saw
Now,
that.
this is cool too, mechanically speaking, I think. I like that attack, just from a play style perspective. It was fun. And was that the first attempt too? The first actual
That was the
attempt?
second attempt, but first one where we intentionally summoned him.
Right. So yeah, he was over with real quick. It did not take much. He was not a hard boss. Because, I mean, we already knew he was Destroyer, so we knew how to build for him, so it wasn't that bad. Just the pain of being a worm boss, right? It was fine. It was all fine. That was not fine, though. Yeah, I had an incredible kit for this one with my primary weapon, the Sandstorm, and the Meteor enchantment. It all came together really well.
And you also had another good weapon for him that you didn't even end up using.
The harp.
Yeah, that's a really good weapon on him.
Yeah, I was built for this dude.
You died after he died,
Yeah.
I just realized.
He got me from the grave.
Oh, and you had the Meteor Staff, which is another good weapon
Yeah.
for him.
I think I didn't use the Meteor Staff because it was so mana heavy. That's why I didn't use it.
Yeah. It has that problem, doesn't it?
Yeah. But that's the Destroyer. That's really all there was to it. It did not take long. So it's kind of hard to form an opinion of him because we didn't fight him very long. It was just in and out, really.
He doesn't stand out very much at all for me in my memory. Like, that was almost
Yeah.
a complete refresher for me because I really didn't
Yeah.
remember him much other than a sprite.
There's not much to remember about him because, like I said, it was just in and out. We didn't have much of a chance to form a memory of him. So I'm going to put him on B tier myself.
At
Probably,
that
I think.
point,
High B.
we did have an advantage in that we fought the other two mech bosses already, which means
Yeah.
our gear was higher tier. If he was our first boss, I'm sure he would have been harder because we wouldn't have had post-mech boss gear.
Yeah. For me, it would either be a high B or a low A below Queen B. So that's where I'm putting him, is right there.
He just doesn't stand out in my memory, so he's going to have to be C tier for me.
Oof. As low as going C tier.
Probably the lowest in C tier, too.
Damn.
At least Queen Bee stands out in my memory,
Yeah.
even if it's for being annoying. That dude just like he's
yeah.
there. He exists.
You just don't care about him. He just wasn't really anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, fair enough, I suppose. Neither one of us rated him very highly, but that's probably because we just didn't have any reason to remember him. Like, he just didn't stand out. And part of the points for me was just, he was flashy and cool, and I liked that, but...
This mod gets good points for the simple fact that neither one of us have a D tier yet.
Yeah. I mean, from my experience, purely from my experience, I would have put Eater of Worlds on D tier, but I know he's not that bad. It was just, the experience I had. So I'm putting on C tier. But yeah, we both, I think we both pretty well enjoyed the mod so far, it looked like. Then it looks like we had another couple episodes between bosses, and then we get to Plantera. And you get to enjoy Plantera's planty ass.
She does have a planty ass because she is made of plant.
She doesn't even have an ass, dude. She's a plant.
Yes, but that therefore means that her ass is still planty.
But she does not have one.
Plant. But it can't be not planty if all she
God.
is plant.
Oh my god.
You cannot tell me I am wrong.
So do I have a fleshy gun then? Oh my god, let me not think about that one too much.
Yeah, you're gonna regret that statement, that's for sure. You're gonna really regret that one.
I have a gun. It's just not the gun you want. Oh god,
I don't
okay.
particularly like handling that kind of gun.
Ooh, okay, Plantera came in with an opener here. We didn't even see her yet and she was shooting at us.
Plantera had a very similar effect to what a lot of vanilla bosses have for me, where it didn't really feel like she had a pattern. It was just chaos and bullets everywhere.
It definitely did feel like that, yeah.
Which is a negative for me. Like, completely chaotic stuff like that means you end up in situations where there is no dodging.
Right. In most cases, though, as long as you have space to move, you can find a way out, which we did have a pretty spacious arena here, it looks like to me. So it's not like you were constricted that much. But you definitely have to be very aware of where everything around you is at all times, because there's no predicting anything.
Yeah, exactly. Either way, that still works as a negative to me.
I think I enjoyed this fight reasonably well. I liked it well enough.
I didn't completely hate the fight or anything. I'm just stating that that part works as a negative against the fight.
It's not going to be one of my higher tier ones.
Which is, again, a shame because this boss is right there with Queen Bee for one of my favorite bosses in vanilla. Clearly, I just have a thing for the jungle because I like both jungle bosses quite well. I'm not going to count Golem because he's not a boss.
It took me a second. I had to double take that one. Wait, what? At first I accepted that, and then I was like, wait a minute. Something's not right here. I really almost went away with that. Okay.
Whoops.
Oh, God. I think, some of her attacks are pretty cool. I like this attack. I like that ring she throws around that spawns bullets. I think that's pretty cool.
The ring itself is a cool idea, but the issue with it is it's the main cause of the randomness.
See, to me, that randomness is not that big of a deal, because it spawns from the ring. What I don't like is the time bombs that appear. Those pink bombs that appear just everywhere.
Yeah.
Those were what annoyed me, because there was no tell for those. They just appear, and you have to just deal with it. That part I can fully understand being annoying, because they just appear out of nowhere and anywhere. But I like the ring's attack, though. Because at least the ring's bullets spawn, from the ring. You have something to go off of for that one. Besides the ring itself being a cool, flashy move that is big and in your face. I like that about it.
I think I already know where I'm going to rate her. Because, again, she was one that didn't stand out hugely in my memory. But even after rewatching it, I have a bias for Plantera the same as Queen Bee, and she
Yeah.
didn't have the lag thing going on like Queen Bee, which means I can't hate too much, but
Yeah.
I also don't think the fight was particularly well made, in my opinion, compared to a lot of the other bosses.
Yeah, understandable. It definitely doesn't stick out too much. It's cool, but it's not anything special cool for the mod. That's the way I see it. So I'll rate it decent. It'll either be B or A. Probably low A, high B, something like that. That's what I'm thinking myself.
That's about where she's going to be for me, and it's almost entirely because of my bias for Plantera.
You just think Plantera is cool. You just want her planty ass.
Totally.
Except in this case, it's a shroomy ass.
That's true.
'Cause she did get turned into a mushroom. Yeah, I'll put him on. I'll put her on high B, I think, because like I said there, the bombs were a bit annoying. It was a cool boss. It was all right. So Plantera's planty ass or mushroomy ass goes. Let's see. I'm gonna put her. Oh, between Destroyer and Plantera. That's probably. She was better than Skeletron because she wasn't disappointingly easy like he was. That's a tough one though between those two. I'll put her above Destroyer. I'll put her above Destroyer. She was cool. She just had that one attack that annoyed me was the bombs. Other than that, she was pretty cool.
She's going to have to go below King Slime for me.
Still on B though, in the same kind of general ballpark as me. But you like a slime blob more than you like Plantera's shroomy ass.
Well, like I said, literally the only thing keeping Plantera that high in this mod is just because I have a bias for Plantera from vanilla.
You just like Plantera.
Because
yeah,
in the mod,
hey,
she's not that impressive.
Hey, you rated Queen Bee pretty darn low.
Well, yeah, but the Queen Bee had a big disadvantage that Plantera didn't have. Queen Bee was just downright annoying with the stupid bees. The bees don't even bother me in vanilla because their HP is low enough that even if you don't have Pierce, you can deal with them quickly. But in the mod, it's high enough to where it starts just getting on my nerves because you don't always just instantly delete them.
Right. All right. Golem looks like took one episode. It looks like.
I do remember him being slightly aggravating, but it mostly comes from the fact that when you add all those extra attacks to him and you're still confined to the same little room. I mean, granted, the mod makes it a bit bigger, I think, but it's still pretty small overall.
Did we ever confirm that? The arena size changes with the eternity mode?
I did not. I don't think we did. I don't think I even mentioned it before. It just seems like it was a little bit bigger to me. Maybe we just got lucky with World Gen.
Maybe. I don't know.
But it was still a little bit annoying just because of all the extra attacks locked into still the same small area, you know?
Yeah. We were actually... See what we're talking about here. We were actually talking about the arena being smaller than usual.
Maybe it was small. Maybe I'm just thinking of really small ones because I've had bad luck recently. Because in my solo games that I've done relatively recently, I have had some
pretty bad rolls.
Yeah, they've been rough. Let me tell you what.
You should take some screenies. Show them off to the world. All right.
I think the only screenshot I have saved of Terraria still is an old one with a whole bunch of mini biomes all connected to each other. Some funky world gen.
Yeah, so, I hate to say it, but part of this guy's points for me is going to come to the fact that he sands. I just thought that was funny.
I don't really care about Undertale, so for me that doesn't really affect anything.
It was a joke. I mean, it's a joke of a boss, Golem, so they're going to make it a joke of a skin, Sans. I just thought that was really funny and really appropriate for Golem. I thought it was great. Great little detail. And, massive detail. That's literally his skin. But...
Didn't we lose the first try on him, though? I want to say we lost the first try and beat him second try or something.
I think that sounds about right.
Like, I know he didn't take as long, but I swear
Yeah.
we lost the first try.
Other than his skin being cool, the fight itself wasn't that great to me. I didn't like it that much, I don't think.
I don't completely hate it. It's just the small arena combined with all the extra stuff is kind
Yeah.
of a pain. Especially by the time you consider all of our own projectiles in there too, makes it hard to tell what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
I heard the rubber ducky
Yeah.
noise right when you died. It tried to save you.
I think the concepts for the attacks are cool in theory. I think it's a cool idea mechanically, and I think the ideas here are really built off of the fact that it's a confined arena, so the attacks kind of work with the confined space pretty well. But it's just not fun in practice to me.
Yeah. That's what about what I think of it.
So, I mean, once the joke of, Sans being the boss wears off, it's just not. It's mediocre at best to me.
That was pretty much the whole fight, though. That we were right at the end right there where we died.
Yeah, it doesn't take much.
That was also one of the few times I've got to use the candy corn rifle in a playthrough. I don't use it very often.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I'm just morphing through blocks. Classic Terraria, am I right?
That's a good little clip. Alright, yeah. I'm pretty sure you carried this one in the end. I think a large part of the issue was just the amount of particles from my bionomic cluster I was still using had all enabled, so I couldn't see very well. Once I died, it became easier to see.
Indeed. Look at my little candy corns.
Yeah.
Get 'em, candy corns. That candy corn rifle is actually really good even in vanilla. The only reason I don't use it more is, well, I guess it's a combination of reasons. I don't play ranged that much. And when even when I do, I just don't do the Halloween and the ice event all that often.
The whole bullet density thing definitely became a serious recurring issue throughout the game.
Especially later in the game.
Yeah. I mean, they give you all these accessories. You eventually end up with every accessory in the game at your disposal at any time, but you just don't want to use all of them because you can't see through all that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing holding you back is just your own ability to tell what the hell's going on.
Well, I know how I'm going to rate him, and I think he's going to be the last one where I put him.
Ooh, you thinking C tier? Is that where you're gonna hit him? C tier?
Yep.
Ooh! Where are we putting on one C tier? Bottom of C tier? Is it that bad?
Yeah, he's just...
Ooh!
His attacks are a cool concept. That's really all he has going for him from vanilla. He's a cool concept. But that's the exact same thing in vanilla. I think Golem, even in vanilla, is a cool concept.
Yeah.
He's just not that good.
I think a line that sums up this boss rework really well is, there was an attempt.
Yeah. I feel like that's even just vanilla Golem, though.
Yeah.
Like, there was an attempt.
There was an attempt to make him a good, fun boss. But it just kind of fell flat. So
1.4.4 has made him a bit better, too, but he's still Golem.
is it bottom of B or top of C for me? I don't know. King Slime was probably overall considerably better, but was Skeletron Prime that close to him? Was he closer to King Slime or Skeletron Prime for me? I don't know. His Prime ended up just being kind of annoying, but so did Golem in the end for me. I'll put him top of C, because in the end, he really just wasn't much more of an annoyance to me overall, as it actually turned out.
I believe, is Betsy our next one, or was Duke? Because we did both of them around the same time.
Looks like Betsy comes next.
There you go, then.
I think we need to give our NPCs a chance.
Yeah. That was one of the first ones that took us a long time there. The Duke.
Yeah.
He took us quite a few tries compared to most of the other bosses
Yeah.
up to that point.
Duke was 3 episodes, and he was rough. He was actually rough. Betsy was not too bad, I think. I think you carried again on her, though, again, like you do a lot of times.
I remember Betsy being only a problem because of her debuffs, basically.
That was really Mutant in a nutshell, was he had this one debuff that made him a bitch. Not Mutant,
Abominationn.
Fishron. No, Fishron.
Fishron.
Yeah, Duke Fishron had one debuff, his signature debuff, that was just an absolute pain, and that was what made him so hard. But that's Duke Fishron. We're talking about Betsy right now. Which, we kind of got destroyed during trying to fight her during the event, so we had to fight her separately to even get a chance.
But if I remember right, we didn't realize we could fight her separately at first, which was why we were doing her in the event in the first place.
Well, we needed to fight her during the event to get the summon.
True.
And then we could use the summon outside of the event to fight her. But yeah, she kind of destroyed our shit during the event.
Yeah, you watching the portal. Yeah. Nice view, bro. Nice view.
Yeah, I had a great view of all the bullets flying away from her mauling her
and the
ass.
occasional flying thing coming out of the portal.
Yeah. Yeah, here you are trying to defend the crystal, but you can't because there's too much shit going on.
Yeah.
So she wins by just beating the crystal. Here I was trying to use a vertical UFO laser against a very mobile boss.
Yeah.
See, I didn't mind that attack. It did not bother me too much at all.
I didn't even see which one I was talking about.
It was her Danmaku is what it was.
Oh,
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't bother me at all. I kind of like that one.
I don't know why I got hit by it so much, because there were tighter attacks later on that didn't bother me as much, but for some reason that one hit me, man.
Yeah. She gets points for the reskin. The Ender Dragon reskin is kind of cool. I dig it.
I prefer her original appearance personally, but the appearance itself isn't really going to affect how I rate her.
She didn't give us too much trouble. We got her in one episode. Mostly just you, though. You had to carry this one, because for some reason, I couldn't perform very well on this one.
Well, I think we've got the idea of the fight at this point.
Yeah, I mean...
She doesn't have a ton of attacks, and she doesn't really have a second phase either.
Yeah, she doesn't really... She's not that memorable to me, really. I can't put her that high, because she's just not that memorable to me.
The flamethrower is what made her memorable for me.
To me, like, she's kind of the same as the issue you have with the Destroyer. You just don't remember it. Like, I just don't really... She didn't stick out to me that much.
She'll stick out a lot more when you play ranged and get that flamethrower.
Yeah. Yeah, the flamethrower you got from her definitely is cool, but, I mean, the fight itself was just kind of... It was there. It existed. I mean, it was hard for me, apparently, but... I mean, like,
you had
whatever.
the Stuggle bus.
It was whatever. So, I think she's going somewhere that's not up here.
Well, that part was a given.
I think I guess I'll just put her below King Slime on B tier because she's just was really okay.
Okay.
She was very in the middle. What's your ranking for Betsy?
I think she deserves an A tier.
Ooh, your second A tier, finally. Something that's good but not amazing. But where are you putting her? Over Skeletron?
Yeah, probably over Skeletron.
Okay. Alright, so solid in the A tier, starting to actually build your column out here a little bit.
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, we're getting to the later end of the run here now. We're getting towards the end of the bosses.
I already know how I'm rating Duke Fishron. You don't even have to watch the video for me to give my rating.
Ooh. See, I like the boss. I really do. It's just that debuff. I don't like it.
He did have some buggy attacks too because of multiplayer. I think that's what we're talking about.
There was one.
The shark.
The shark.
Yeah.
Where he tries to drop a bunch of sharks on, and they're supposed to split between the players, but they weren't. Like this.
Exactly.
And that happens. And you had no way out of that because you didn't have Betsy Dash. I was using Betsy Dash, so I could usually skip through it if I timed it right, but you're not supposed to have to do that.
Yeah.
And that was my way out of it, like
Except
doing
it didn't work there. You still got hit there.
Yeah, but you're not even supposed to have to do that. He's supposed to leave an opening, but he didn't.
He didn't even do it all the time, as you see right there.
Mm-hmm.
He only did that some of the time.
Yeah, sometimes it actually worked properly.
Your bats are not homing on this phase, I don't think.
Yeah, it didn't look like they were homing to me there.
They weren't.
Fairly certain your bats were not.
So weapons don't home on him in his last phase there. His last phase was also kind of rough too.
This is basically just you discovering how you're going to rate him.
Yeah,
Because like I said, I know where I'm going with him.
I mean, I liked his fight. It just had a few standout issues with it, with our particular, experience. I mean, but I liked him reasonably well. So, oh yeah, I tried using Ninja Gear to get better dashes here, and I think that helped a bit. Look at that Danmaku, though. Look at that. That's pretty. Okay, so Duke Fishy Boy was... Oh, just hit me with it. What are you going to do with him?
We need a new tier for F and put him there.
God damn. You really hated him.
I'm not overly huge on Duke Fishron to begin with. He's alright. I don't completely hate him, but I don't really love him either. But that debuff alone made me want to uninstall the game.
The debuff was painful.
To me, that entire concept is frankly just stupid. I am completely against that kind of concept. That's just a terrible way to design a boss, in my opinion, or an enemy at all, for that matter.
Hitting him with the harsh words. Okay. Well, we haven't even used D tier yet, and that's reserved for shit that's actually bad, so let's just use D tier.
I just said we gotta make a new tier to prove a point there for how I feel about him.
That's the first D tier of the game.
Yeah.
The first one.
And he'll be the only one.
That's the only boss that you really just did not like in any capacity. He was just not fun. See, I'm not going to hit him that hard because I did like, I liked the design of the fight overall.
See,
I just, that one debuff was just a bad design choice, to be sure, I think.
Yeah, that was the biggest problem for me, that was the biggest decision for why he was a D tier. If you took that out, he'd probably be top C, bottom B tier kind of area. Like, he's middle of the pack kind of thing, but, like, nothing special, whatever.
Yeah.
But that debuff just, I hate that entire concept, man. It kills me.
I'm gonna make him... I'm thinking somewhere in B tier is what I'm thinking, because I would put him on A tier, honestly, because like I said, I like the design of the fight, but that debuff's gonna bring it down. But I mean, yeah, Plantera was better, Destroyer was better. I think he's gonna beat Skeletron. I think he'll beat Skeletron just because he actually did pose a challenge, even if it was kind of an annoying one. So I think I'm gonna put him. He's gonna go right in the middle of my pack. Right in the dead center of my pack.
Accurate.
Right in the middle B tier.
If they took away that debuff, that's very close to the way I'd be rating him.
Yeah. Alright, only 5 more to go, it looks like. And we're not going to count brains, so only 4 more to go then? Looks like.
Yep. Since we don't have 1.4 bosses, that would be accurate.
Yeah. Alright, Lunatic Cultist. So... I think what we learned was Lunatic Cultist in this particular case just completely did away with the whole target a specific one thing, right? Or,
yeah, and it just did whatever.
Well,
like, it always gave a new duplicate, it felt like.
Yeah, actually, it did always give you a new duplicate. I think what you learned was if you target the right one, he will not spawn an Ancient Vision.
I think that was right.
It was a cool, flashy fight, though. From that perspective, I liked it.
Well, I mean, technically, if you do that in vanilla mode and get a bunch of fakes, he would be like that, too.
Yeah.
Because that's what causes all of his attacks. They really didn't change him that much other than making you get guaranteed fakes. Because most of his attacks are very similar to what they already were. Because if you intentionally shoot the wrong ones enough, you'll end up in the exact same situation in vanilla.
Yeah.
Except he won't be as tanky or doing as high damage, obviously, due to lower difficulty.
I'm not sure how I want to rate him because, I mean, he was cool. I'm biased. Well, I feel like I was biased against him for some reason. Something I didn't like about him, I feel like. I'm not sure what it was now.
I remember you not being super huge on Cultist and Vanilla just as a whole
Yeah,
for some reason.
I don't like Cultist and Vanilla for some reason. There was some kind of bias there.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just remember that being the case.
He gets points, though, for whipping out an entire fucking pillar and throwing it at you.
Yeah, that I was going to mention that earlier, but I decided I should wait until we got to him, that he was going to be slightly higher ranked just because of how much it threw me off when he whipped out a whole pillar.
He has some cool Danmaku in general. I like his Danmaku.
Isn't that like his only actual unique attack that wasn't vanilla?
Probably.
Oh, nope, that was too. The vertical attack.
Well, just, bullet hell stuff is just more common in this mod.
Yeah, it looks like when he got really low, he started whipping out new attacks, but for the first, pretty high... portion of the fight was just vanilla with more fakes.
Let's see. I'm not going to rate him that low.
I'm
not going to rate him too low.
I think I know where I'm putting him.
Something was annoying me about this fight, though. I can't remember what the hell it was now.
I think this was at the point when we started getting those debuffs that counter specific classes, and we didn't know how to deal with them, so it might have been that.
Could be. Well,
because I think he was the first boss that started doing that.
Boss, maybe, yeah, but I had been dealing with reverse mana flow since the first dungeon in Nether, because the dungeon was what introduced it, and it sucked. Yeah, you're using confetti, yeah. Yeah, because it was, he kept, the pillar is what gave it to you, and he kept using the ranged one just to counter you for some reason.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a thing.
It didn't really hit me that much, it was just you for the most part that had to deal with it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's Cultist. I mean, I think he was a bigger deal than he is in Vanilla. Normally in Vanilla, you can just push him over, right, for the most part.
Yeah, he's very similar to Golem in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, he actually is... You're kind of forced to take him seriously in this game.
In Vanilla, I think he has more impact than Golem purely off of the fact that once you fight him, you have to deal with the pillars.
Yeah.
Whereas, Golem has nothing like that. Golem doesn't start something on his death.
Golem just exists.
Yeah, that's my point. Because, even if you know Cultist is going to die easy, you also know you have to deal with the pillars afterwards.
Yeah. I wouldn't really count the pillars as part of his fight, though.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that he's more memorable for that reason, I think.
I guess, yeah.
But I think I'm going to put him at the top of B tier, probably.
Top of B. I'm feeling pretty similar.
The King Slime has finally been cast. It took long enough.
Okay. Lunatic Cultist is going to go...
You have a lot of Bs.
My B is getting pretty filled out here.
Got thick B tier, bro.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing. It's going to be high B or low A? It's not going to be low A, because there was just something about it that didn't sit right with me for some reason. I don't remember what it was now, but... Something I didn't care for as much. We'll put him... I'll put him below Plantera. I'll put him above Destroyer.
I also know where I'm putting Moonlord already, because Moonlord's fight was memorable for me.
Oh, Moonlord was something else, bro.
There was a lot of things I liked about him, but there was one thing that bugged me about him, which is what determines why I'm placing him where I am.
And was the class restrictions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan of that. I feel like if you've built yourself for a class, you should be allowed to use the class.
Yeah, I can feel that. At this point, though, the game was also giving us... I think Gaia Armor was available for this fight, right? We had to use it, right?
Yeah, we ended up using it for the fight when we actually won, I think.
So the game at this point was basically telling you, hey, it's time to start multi-classing.
Yeah, but I still don't agree with it.
Yeah.
I still feel like you should be allowed to play a class if you want to play a class. That is the only negative, though. The rest of the fight was really good, but that is the one negative to me.
This theme was recurred until the end of the game, too, because by the time of Moonlord, you have everything, so there's no purpose in sticking to a specific class, because you literally have everything from every class. By the time of Mutant, I mean.
Yeah. But at that point, you weren't forced to use a specific, all the classes either, like you were for this fight.
Yeah, this guy actually forced you to lock in for a little while, then switch, and then switch, and then switch. It was a hassle. It was certainly a hassle, and especially it was a hassle setting up. because we had to go out of our way to grind all kinds of shit just to make the other classes viable enough to, just do the fight. So from the perspective of setup and shit, the fight was a pain. It was an absolute pain in the ass getting ready for the fight. But as for the fight itself, it was a lot of fun. I loved the fight itself. I had a great time.
See, I'm sort of in that boat. I loved all of his attacks and the patterns. Again, I just didn't like being forced to swap class weapons and stuff like that.
It was just such it really did Moonlord justice, I think. It made him really, flashy, really huge. He changes everything about the screen.
Well, I mean, he already does that. He makes everything pitch black except and grays out all the terrain and stuff when he spawns, even in vanilla.
Now even the colors are changing too. Like everything's tinting differently. I think it's a really, really cool fight visually, and I like the attacks as well.
I don't think visually it was that drastically different to me, but the fight felt good to me.
And once you actually have your setup done, I personally like the mechanic of changing attack types during the fight to adapt to what's going on. I like that mechanic during the fight. I just don't like the setup pain of it.
See, I don't mind switching weapons, but I still being forced to switch class to me is very similar to being the HP reduction debuff of the other dude. It's just dumb to me. It's a very bad design decision in my opinion. Switching weapons while still staying in class is one thing, but switching class altogether is another thing.
Yeah.
But a big part of that comes from the fact I play RPG games a lot, and in RPG games that's it's not a thing.
Yeah.
When I'm playing an RPG game, I don't want to switch what I'm doing. I want to play what I am because that's what I picked to play as,
Come on, the Moon's attack was cool. This was cool shit. Come on, wasn't that cool? Now, during the actual playtime itself, I actually did get a bit annoyed by some things, but overall, I really liked the fight. I think it was really cool. So I'm going to put him on A tier, I think. I like it a lot. I mean, setup and shut aside, he's going to go on A tier because it was just really cool overall. Well, that Swords of Revealing Light shit was really cool too. I just love the design of this fight. I think it's so pretty and cool. But that's what I'm doing with him. I think I'm going to put him on A. I mean, honestly, if it weren't for the shitty setup process, I'd probably put him on S tier, but I'm going to put him on A tier. And he's going to go on high A. I just wish the setup weren't such a damn pain. What's your verdict?
Probably on B tier above Retinazer.
Okay. Not quite bottom of B, but not bad.
Like I said, I really liked the fight itself. That it's just the class switching being forced is the one thing that holds it back for me, and it's a pretty major downside to me. But like I said, the rest of the fight is really cool.
Right. All right. Okay. We're at the end of the game. 2 more. And we have 2 more, and this doesn't include Eridanus and shit.
Yeah.
The champions aren't even in here, but we should probably include Eridanus, I feel like, in some capacity. Well, we can say the Brain of Cthulhu is Eridanus. Yeah. We'll just call the Brain of Cthulhu Eridanus. Because Eridanus actually was kind of a threat. I mean, the other champions...
See, I don't even remember him at all. I'm not going to lie, I do not remember him other than the name.
He didn't stick out too much, except for the time-stopping shit.
That was him?
Yeah, that was him. He had a time-stop attack. The big problem here was we had to fight him in space, which was annoying on its own, because space is space.
Yeah. There's nothing we could do about it, though.
That was his time stop, though, I'm sure you noticed. Well,
yeah.
Time stops, he puts a bunch of Danmaku around you, and you have to navigate your way out of it. Attacks are cool. I like his attacks. Lots of flashy shit. You didn't like this one too because of getting stuck on the arena before, but that was something.
The boss's fault.
That was on us.
Yeah.
And we did end up taking it out, I think, at one point.
We took it out once we got permanent flight, if I remember, or something like that.
Something like that. I thought we already had permanent flight, though, before this point, though.
I don't know.
But anyway, design-wise, I like him quite a lot, and I'm kind of a sucker for time mechanics. I love time mechanics, so that's a points from me. The one big downside is that you have to fight him in space, and that's just kind of annoying. Space is annoying. But everything else I liked about him pretty well. He didn't... I guess he wasn't as memorable as other bosses around the same tier, so that might drop him a little bit, because, I mean, everyone around him is really memorable. Like, Moonlord and Abominationn and Mutant, they're all, kind of really... They stick out in your mind, fights. Where he was just there, kind of, but for what he was, I think he was done well. It just sucks that he was in space. So, I'll be rating him fairly high, I think.
I think I know where I'm rating all of the last few bosses already, because I remember the last few bosses enough to say that.
I do kind of like this shit. I think that's cool.
You just walked into that.
Yeah, I did.
You literally just went right into it. There's a big opening, but no, you had to touch it.
At the same time, maybe he's not really meant to stand out that much either, because, he's just, the top of the champions, so he's not really... He's not going to get as much attention as the big bad bosses, because he's not one. He's just a boss.
My bees.
He's the top of the last mini bosses. I mean, come on. Those attacks are kind of cool. I like that shit. Alright. Point made. Eridanus, totally not the brain of Cthulhu. Don't get confused. Don't get it twisted. Somewhere around here, probably. What are you going to do with him?
I think probably under King Slime.
Under King Slime on B tier. Pretty middle of the pack, then.
Yep.
Alright, not bad, not bad. But I think that's probably about right. As a general rule, he's not really meant to stick out that much, I don't think. But I just liked his design and shit quite well, but I just don't want to put him too high, because I don't like having to fight him in space. So maybe bottom of A. These are all pretty close together, but I'm gonna put them right around there, between Twins and Queen Bee. Okay, we've got quite a different list going on here. It looks like by this point, just different
We both
layout.
have a ton of B tiers.
Yeah, bosses that were good.
I think we have the
nothing
exact
special.
same number of B tiers.
Yeah, we do. We do, actually.
I have more S tiers than you, though.
Yeah. I'm kind of careful about putting things on S tier, because S is the really good shit, so I don't want to use it lightly.
See, in vanilla, I would have 3 S tiers. It would be Queen Bee, and then you got your
Plenty ass.
Yeah, Plantera and Empress of Light. Those would be the 3.
Bro, I need to fight Empress of Light. I haven't seen her yet, and I'm looking forward to it, because I hear she's like a Danmaku boss, and I like that shit.
Deerclops is honestly up there. If I can learn him a bit better, I think he might become one of my top favorites, because he feels unique compared to the other bosses, because he's another gravity affected boss, but I think they did him a lot better than they did most of the other gravity affected bosses.
Yeah. Abominationn boy. I'm dead, as usual.
Yeah.
That attack you really didn't like for some reason. It was bad on your eyes or something.
It was the not the part where he dashes.
Yeah,
at
it was
you,
the spinning
part
things.
before, yeah, but yeah, it made me dizzy.
So you just not like the attack as an attack, or was it just because
There's nothing wrong with the attack itself. It was just the fact that my eyes didn't like it made me dizzy. There's nothing inherently wrong with the attack.
Lasers.
Yeah. He did do that, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he was pretty cool. I don't really know what to say about him. He was as expected. He's basically what I expected. He was extremely fucking hard. It took us a long time to kill him, but I mean, he lived up to it. He was really cool. I don't really know what to say about him to say anything that wouldn't already have been said.
My opinion might differ on him had we fought him in single player, But because of fighting him in multiplayer, I think I have to rate him a little bit lower because a lot of his attacks clearly just weren't designed for multiplayer.
Yeah.
But that's where we fought him, so that's what I experienced.
I'm gonna rate. Oh man.
I do definitely think had the fight happened in single player, though, I probably would give him a different rating than what I'm going to.
Yeah. Truffle would not die.
Truffle was a gamer.
We kept taking him right over to Truffle's house, and Truffle just would not die.
Truffle was the true gamer.
Of all the NPCs we had die all the time in this mod, Truffle would just never died. He just refused. That's a comment to make about this, is Abominationn and Mutant start moving really fucking fast.
I don't think Mutant was nearly as bad as Abominationn was. I definitely think Abominationn was the worst out of all the bosses about being like that.
See, I wouldn't even call it worse, because I like it this way. I really liked the flow of Abominationn's fight.
I think that's fine when playing single player, but in multiplayer...
It became an issue.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
Did.
That's a big part of what hurts him in multiplayer for me.
In the multiplayer experience, the biggest issue is you'll target one person and stick on that person, so the other person gets hit by the arena moving too quickly for them to keep up all the time. And the arena does
also
damage.
The bullets not being a pattern from their perspective as much.
Yeah, so you get hit by stray shit all the time.
Stray stuff is a lot harder to dodge than a pattern thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of times it's just impossible to see what's coming because it's off your screen, you're trying to catch up.
Yep.
And it's heading your way, and you do not have time to see it coming and react.
That's probably the biggest effect on the fight for me, is really just the fact that we were playing it in multiplayer.
Everyone's dead.
Bobby.
Thought you should know.
Bobby didn't die, he left.
No, he left the planet, he's dead.
That doesn't mean he died. He could have just been like Saitama in One Punch Man. He got sent to the moon, bro.
Okay.
He's just straight to the moon.
Okay.
That's what we don't know about Bobby. Bobby's actually really powerful. He's like a god.
Okay. This is the winning attempt right here, it looks like. This was it. After 41 attempts it took to beat this guy. That was the hardest fight in the mod.
I still think that also would have been different in single player. Like, I feel like Mutant probably... Or, not Mutant. Yeah, Mutant would have been harder in single player. Because Mutant worked a lot better in multiplayer than this guy did. This guy was just a problem purely because of the multiplayer perspective.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm not going to rate him down too much, if at all, because of the multiplayer jank. I mean, even if it is by design, it was clearly made for single player, but I just liked the boss that well enough that I'm just not going to think about it too much. Because I just really liked him. So it's really not going to weigh him down too much for me, because he was just that cool. There's Icicle Fall. I really love the Toho references in some of these attacks. Because as a Toho fan, I'm kind of biased that way. So that gets points from me.
As a Terraria fan, I'm kind of biased that way.
Yep. Yeah, so that's going to seep into my rating a little bit. I do love the Toho references. Yeah, I think that's most of what there is to say. I mean, it's what you expect from a super late game boss on a super hard mod. He feels the bill. It's just the main comments are, he moves really fast, and that creates multiplayer issues, but that's okay with me. Ultimately. Because at this point, I expect fights to take a really long amount of time, so it didn't bother me that it did.
Well, yeah, I didn't. Time isn't really a contributor to my rating at this point.
We expect it to take forever at this point, so it is what it is.
The only reason the multiplayer thing contributes to me is because I'm rating them on my experience in this playthrough. Yeah. If I was rating them like without that as a consideration, it would be different. Yeah. But that's not the way I'm doing it.
I'm considering my experience, which is, of course, why Eater of Worlds and Skeletron Prime are as low as they are. Because, if they weren't as janky as they were, I probably would have rated them higher, but... I mean, in this case, I just like the boss that much, so I don't think it's going to bother me that much. I just think he's that cool, so... Probably saw it coming, but I'm probably gonna make this my my third S rig. Because I just really like Abomination's battle. It's pretty darn good. And yeah, I'm gonna. It's probably my favorite fight so far, honestly. I'm gonna put it above Deviantt. Amazing fight. I had a lot of fun with it. So what's your verdict?
For me, he's gonna be top of A tier.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I would be kind of disappointed if one of us actually really didn't like one of these last bosses.
Honestly, if the fight took us too many more tries, I very well could have gone that way, because over time it just would have started getting old. But luckily we didn't get to that point.
Honestly, I was a little worried that you would get annoyed after a while because, I mean, I know how you are. Eventually you're going to get worn out of it.
Well, the biggest downside, like I said, is just the whole multiplayer thing, and that would have started weighing on me more and more the more times we played it.
Mm-hmm. God, it feels kind of weird looking at Wall of Flesh being higher than Moonlord, and then I remember, oh yeah, Moonlord had that annoying mess setup phase, and that just took away from it a little bit.
See, when I rated my Moonlord, that wasn't even counting the setup.
See, that...
I still rated him lower than you, but I wasn't counting the setup.
I remember him fondly, except the setup is just still so... It was such a pain that it's ingrained in being...
Yeah, it took like a long time.
It's associated with Moonlord at this point, so it kills my image of him. That's how much of a pain the setup was. Just to fight one boss and then never fight him again, almost. So, that it really did take away from it a lot, but... He would be S tier otherwise. Okay, so that's about it. We're to the very end now.
The final fella.
Yep. And goddamn, the first phase BGM was amazing to me. I love that track. I just wish it lasted longer.
The way this track started really did sound like something out of Serious Sam to me.
It's the riff. It's the guitar riff and the rhythm that does it.
After the start of it kind of lost that, but like the very start of the track, it did have that feel to it.
See, Mutant had these amazingly beautiful Danmaku attacks that I just loved. He really did fit the bill as what he is.
And he also had a sword made of eyes, because fuck you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All my nukes.
Yeah.
There's so many right there all of a sudden.
Yup.
Like there was none, and then there was just a swarm of them. I honestly, if I remember right, I actually liked Second Phase's music more. But if I remember... I mean, that's not what I meant to say. If I remember, that doesn't make sense for what I was about to say.
What were you about to say?
What I was about to say is the music isn't affecting my ratings anyway, so that doesn't really matter.
Well, it affects mine because to me it's part of the experience, so that plays into it.
I mean, it is part of the experience, but if I wanted to rate music for something, I would just rate the music separately from the boss, honestly. Because that would totally change up the ratings on a lot of things for me.
And this is the second of 3 episodes it took to beat Mutant, right here.
And the last one is not here yet.
And the last one is currently uploaded. Actually, it's uploaded, it's just processing right now. That's a cool thumbnail, I should use that. I'm not gonna use that. This is when you got the blender too, as the title suggests. The yo-yo. Wasn't a very flashy yo-yo, but that was the point, because you could see through it.
That ended up being what I used for the remainder of the fight, too, I think.
Yeah, you used the blender for the rest of the game, and I used the landslide for the rest of it.
The blender was a really good weapon, I think, especially for the point in the game.
Yeah. It did good. We both ended up going with pretty tame options, just because that's what we had to do to be able to tell what was going on. I mean, normally I like the really flashy stuff, but at this point, when it starts degrading your ability to process what's going on, I have to, tame it down a little bit.
Look, you lagged.
Yeah, so this was the lag issue I was talking about all the time, where...
Yeah, it didn't do that at all for me. It just ran perfectly smooth on my end.
I wish, because I took a lot of hits because of that, because I just couldn't move because I was lagged out. So I guess that's a bit of a downside, but I'm not sure how much of that is the game and more just my hardware.
Well, I mean, you're already being hard on your hardware anyway, because yours isn't like super new or anything,
No.
and you're recording on top of hosting. You're doing both of those. Like, I feel like unless you upgrade your PC, we might need to give it a go, having other people host and just see if that works a little better.
Just run that thing. I mean, that machine sitting over there is not doing anything. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. That's enough to, run a dedicated game server most of the time for just two of us. I think that'll do. Just for kicks, probably. Let's see. Can I just want to make the point, just so it's here. We just need to see it. Look at the higher quality. Look at that. And it's not being streamed.
Yeah.
Was this the win? This might have been the win. Probably was. Lag.
Only for you.
There it is. Last phase and then we win.
Yeah, I like how you say don't die, but I'm pretty sure you died, didn't you?
I did. If I had more time to learn those patterns, I probably could handle them. It's just, I only had a couple chances to learn those.
The main problem with that phase is that he overlaps attacks because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
It really wouldn't be that bad if there was no overlap.
That is such a good finisher, though, I feel like. That's such a great, final attack of the entire game. It shakes the screen and everything. It's huge. It's massive. I love it. We did it.
Yep.
It was a year in the making.
That was a long one, despite how short the mod was.
Yeah.
As one of those things, too, if we do Calamity, death mode, or better yet, Calamity Inferno mode, which is a standalone mod that goes...
Infernum, was it? I think it was.
Infernium.
I think it was called Infernum.
But it goes to the Calamity mod, and it's similar to what the Souls mod is. It's just an insane difficulty up where it changes patterns and makes more things into patterns and stuff. It honestly looks really, really good to me, but I haven't tried it yet.
Well, first we need to do death mode.
Well, we also have other mods we need to play too,
Yeah.
and vanilla, so we have a lot of things to get to.
We'll be busy for a while. We got plenty of Terraria content to last us for the next 20 years.
Yeah. We're a bit behind on the Terraria game after all.
Mutant. Very, very cool, very well done, I think, overall. I mean, even you said he did better than Abominationn did for multiplayer, even.
Well, yeah, because all his stuff was AoE focused, which means the stray projectiles wasn't really a concern as much in that fight.
He was more of a conventional, just Danmaku boss.
Yeah.
That was his thing, which I think he did really great. Yeah, he was... Fuck, is there any word to put him besides S tier? What do you think?
Yeah, he's going S tier for me. I'm just deciding where I want him in S tier.
Yeah. He's gonna go top for me. I know this is really cringy and cheesy, but come on, he's fucking cool. Mutant was a damn cool boss. He had really fucking cool music, great visuals, great designs of weapons and attacks. He's just awesome. Ah, shoot. Where's your rating? Where's it gonna be? Is he better than Wall of Flesh?
That's basically what I'm deciding. I'm deciding if he's either top or right behind Wall Flesh, because I really enjoyed the Wall Flesh one. Man, that one felt good to me.
Yeah. That would be kind of wild if the final boss was beaten out by a middle-of-the-pack boss. But Wall of Flesh is pretty unique in his own way. And this mod did him pretty well, I think.
Wall of Flesh is fairly unique even in vanilla,
yeah,
I think.
That's just how he is. He's a pretty unique boss conceptually and mechanically, and this mod did a pretty good job of reworking him, I think.
They took away his whole slide that he does, though, where he gets stupid fast when he gets lower on health.
Oh, yeah.
In this mod, he wasn't really gaining speed. Instead, his attacks just got worse and worse.
I think he did have sprints, though, didn't he, every once in a while?
Well, I think that was if you got too far away or something, if I remember right. I think we figured out that what was causing him to do that was us getting too far away from him.
I can see it being a tough comparison. Wall of Flesh was pretty damn cool. But what do you think? That's what's important.
I think I have to give it to Wallflesh as
Ooh.
the top. He's
Ooh.
second.
My dude likes Wall of Flesh.
Honestly, it was close even with Deviantt, because Deviant's really close there too.
Mm-hmm.
But from my perspective, he's a direct upgrade to what Deviantt is.
Yeah.
Because Deviant, I also think, worked a lot better in multiplayer than
Yeah, for sure.
Abominationn. Abominationn out of the three was the worst one from the multiplayer perspective.
Well, Deviant, I mean, at the point of Deviant, we hadn't gotten to the extreme speed at which the game was moving, but
Yeah.
by what time it was late game, so it wasn't so hard to work around her.
We ended up with the same number of S ratings and the same number of B ratings, actually.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
The only difference was A's and then the D's and C's.
A's and C's, and then you had to have a D because Fishron was just a bitch.
Yeah, that fight was making every day that we fought him, I just ended it in a not so great mood.
Damn.
Because I really, really hated him. It
Alright.
was just unpleasant.
Well, that's the Eternity tier list, and I don't know when this is going to post. It's probably going to post after the epilogue, if I had to guess, because it's going to take a while to upload and process, but that's the tier list, so, yeah, it was a fun time. It was a good, enjoyable playthrough overall. I loved it. It was just long.
Yep. My ratings would have definitely been different too had we not had the multiplayer lag, which had a big effect on Eater of Worlds and Queen Bee mainly.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
also, had I been playing single player, would have changed it drastically too, because things like the Abominationn wouldn't have been such a pain.
Yep. Oh, so a large part of our downsides were just multiplayer related, but
Yeah, I was trying to rate purely off the experience
Yeah.
of that playthrough, not just as a whole general thing.
yeah. No, maybe we can do something about that multiplayer in the future. We'll see. We'll try a few things possibly.
In the end, though, Duke Fishron never will change. He'll always be there.
All right. Well, that's the tier list. All right. Man. GG.
Indeed.